So, I'm deciding to use I've decided to get a new screen recorder, and now I'm going to test it out by going through every single theory that I have on FNAF, excluding the timeline. But you have this. This is my bias, my particular opinion on the FNAF timeline. I don't agree how the timeline with the timeline going. FNAF 4, FNAF 2, FNAF 1, FNAF 3, FNAF Sister Location, and then Pizzeria Simulator. FNAF 4 being placed right, and Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator being placed right. Now, all you gotta do to fix that problem is, well, bring Sister Location back all the way except making it after FNAF 4, and then push everything forward one, and then we're good. But if we don't acknowledge Sister Location at all, we all agree. We're all going to agree that FNAF 4, FNAF 2, FNAF 1, FNAF 3, FNAF 6. Now, I'm going to go through all the different locations. So, all the different locations are, the first location, which is Fredbear's Singing Show, which eventually becomes Fredbear's Family Diner, which lasts from 1949 to 1982, a little bit before William, and then a little bit before the series really starts. Then the second location is Circus Baby's Pizza World. There it is. It's in 1983. And obviously, even though the Circus Baby design that I have is horrifying because I don't have good editing skills, but it has to be blue-eyed to make it accurate because Elizabeth isn't dead yet, and she isn't possessing Circus Baby yet, so it would not be, because it's a Circus Baby Pizza World, it would not be the fact that now she's not possessed. This is a good old theme that happens to be just around the same time. This is a theme song that plays when Elizabeth dies. Nice, right? Because Circus Baby, Funtime Freddy, Bob, Laura, and then Funtime Foxy, early in 1983 still. Okay, you get the idea. Third location, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in 1983. The location, the pizzeria in the FNAF 4. Circus Baby Entertainment and Rentals. Location of Sister Location. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in 1995. Being the location where the missing children incident takes place. Then we have Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in 1997. where FNAF 2 takes place. 1988 to 1993 is the 7th location. And you can see that black line. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, which is basically, this is the location that FNAF 1 takes place in. This is still technically the same location, but it's now, like, reopened. And 2003 to 2000, and now it's 2003 to 2004. Which is the FNAF 1 location. Your 9th location, 2034, Fazbear's Fright, the horror attraction. Oh shoot, I forgot. $2034, which is, this is the FNAF 3 location. The 10th location, almost the last one, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place, 2045. It's a location where Helpy, where FNAF, that's the FNAF 6 location. Boop. And then the final, 11th location, is Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizza Place, 2051. Location of security breach, okay. Final boop. Well, 16 minutes. Alright, chaos. Now, this is the map. Is my map of all the different locations. So, red is just a transfer of location. Throughout the timeline. And then blue is going underground of the location. Purple is where the location changes. So you can see this. Circus Baby's Pizza World, which eventually changes into the 1985 location, which where the missing children incident happened, and then FNAF 2 location is still the same thing. And then we have the location of Into the Pit. Just pizza. And then you clearly can see that that is a security puppet. Basically, this arrow is showing that security puppet is in the location. Is in this location. See this. Is and then you have the FNAF 4 pizzeria, where eventually you can see that. Well, you can see like the good old fact that the Bite of 83, where Fredbear jumps his skull. This circle is actually the Fredbear's Family Diner, which is the pre-extension of the restaurant. It's the pre-extension of the restaurant Freddy Fazbear's pre-extension of restaurant and the creation of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Freddy Fazbear Entertainment, and Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, which is this, which can connect to Circus Baby's Pizza World. And then you have FNAF 4 itself, the FNAF 4 bedroom, which is basically, see that where the room of the TV, see how there's like a little bit of a locked room over there? I think that room actually leads into the FNAF 4 house, where under it you have Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals, and then, which is showing the cameras, which shows FNAF Warehouse. Meanwhile, traveling through time a bit, this is the FNAF 1 location, where also Fetch takes place. And this is where FNAF 3 is. You can see, like, how you have good old this, which it starts out with FNAF 1, and then you go, like, over here. That arrow will lead there, which then can go all the way to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place, which then goes to Fetch, which then goes all the way to Security Breach Freddy Fazbear's Make a Pizzaplex, which is above Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place. Okay. Okay, so this isn't really a theory, but something I need to call out.
Shadow Marionette responds, Gregory is an
I
orphan.
get called
I mean, it is true,
out.
because in the leaving ending, it shows Gregory homeless without parents.
Good old
Glitch Trap
Afton
is the
gaming.
arm at the end of Security Breach trailer. Well, in the Afton/Staying ending, we see a purple version of Scrap Trap/Afton. We die at the end. Well, in the end of the leaving ending, after Gregory is shown as homeless, Vanny appears.
Yeah,
so
this is a comment I put. Oh yeah, back when I had 10 subscribers.
But also, those are also alternate endings. So I mean, anything is possible if you have enough endings.
The amount of subscribers
Let's just have a million
less.
ending.
The amount of subscribers that I have currently, and the amount of subscribers that was in that video, that was shown in that video, totals up. The good old what's it called? The good old the good old amount of subscribers that are secretly just me. Yeah, I only have 2 of the subscribers are actually just fake accounts, because back when I had 0. This is what happens after Elizabeth's death, after a crying child gets traumatized by Elizabeth's death. Having a little bit of sleepover with Cassidy. William appears. Enters the room. There you are, son! There you are, son. I was looking for you all day yesterday. Okay, William, I get it. Dad, can you leave for a minute? Okay, son. I'll be back in a minute. They're gone. They're just slightly transparent. A minute later, oh, the lights are on. They're becoming smaller, apparently, or they're just getting closer, and we're just farther, closer to the bed, farther to us. Why are you crying, son? Circus Baby killed Elizabeth. Oh, you remember that? Oh, no. She is still alive somewhat. She possessed her. The animatronic that you supposedly said killed her. Here, let me show you an image of Circus Bay before and after Elizabeth's death. Before her death, she had blue eyes, and then after, she had green eyes. You can tell that they're papers because I purposely made it not transparent. This original picture wasn't transparent. I had to make it transparent, not non-transparent. I intentionally made it not transparent so that, what's it called? I show that it's actually a paper. But okay, that was that thing. Good old FNAF 4 timeline. Getting a bit more into detail about FNAF 4. The exact particular timeline itself. Have this little introduction cutscene where Fredbear's talking. What did he do this time? He locked you in your room again? Don't be scared. I'm here with you. He's in the room. He gets to there, knocks on the door, and then eventually gives up. Tomorrow, and then Fredbear motivates him, being like, tomorrow is another day, which in my opinion is Cassidy. I'll get more into that idea once I get to that theory. These are my friends, said the crying child. Or Evan in this case, because I'm going to go by that lore. Cassidy says, well, Fredbear Flesh says, you know he's hiding again. He won't stop until you find him. Over there. What you doing in Elizabeth's room? I know you miss her, but... Oh, he's entering the room. He gets scared by his older brother, Michael. Tomorrow's another day. Fredbear's saying, he left without you. I don't even know where he is. He knows that you waited here. You're right beside the exit. If you run, you can't make it. No! Don't you remember what you saw? The exit is the other way. Hurry and leave! It's too late. Hurry the other way and find someone who will help. You know what will happen if he catches you. You can find help if you get past them. You have to be strong. Sees these two pillows where William puts on the shirt, which kind of shows that William might be possessed, because I've already discussed the whole theory of purple equals possessed. The fact that the more purple he is, the more possessed he is. And when he's orange, he's not possessed at all. And then he kind of freaks out with the shadows. These two images. Tomorrow's another day. Or they're not. I'm just seeing two images. Hurry! Run towards the exit! He hates you. You can get out this time, but you have to hurry. I made text over it because it got too blurry. Where's your plush toy? Mine's Spring Bonnie. Does that kid have any grammar skills? Like, literally no grammar skills. Where's your plush toy? Hey, we've established it, but mine is... I've established that mine's here, but it's also Spring Bonnie, I guess. My daddy says I have to be careful with him or I will pinch my finger. He's a finger trap, he says. Okay, kid. Okay, child. Your character name is Spring Bonnie Plush Kid. That's the creativity that we got for you. We don't have a character name for you. You better watch out. I hear they come to life at night. And if you die, they hide your body and never tell anyone. Why, you look so worried. See you at the party. Ha ha! Hey, Pigtail Girl, or Hazel, according to my lore, where this kid is Alec, and that previous kid is his sister, Hazel. Aren't you the kid who always hides under the table and cries? Ha ha ha! No one else is scared. Why are you? Stop being such a baby. Sister died. My sister died, but apparently I'm too much of a baby to say it. I'm too lost with. Are you going to the party? Everyone is going to the party. Oh, wait, you have to go. It's your birthday. Ha ha. This kid was literally named Laughing Kid. And now this one's Balloon Boy Kid. Or Human. And then, be careful. Guess I wasn't that careful. Tomorrow's another day, I guess. Please let me out. Please. Please let me out. Okay. That was sad. Oh, no. Michael, why'd you bring your friends along? I get you're bored. But why are you drowning the poor kid? Wow, your brother is kind of a baby, isn't he? Okay, Bonnie. Or Chica. I'm not sure. It's hilarious. Michael might be possessed by William at this time. I mean, Henry. More on that later. Why don't we help him get a closer look? He will love it. No, please. Come on, guys. Let's give this little man a lift. He wants to get up close and personal. No, I don't want to go. I just suddenly turned British. Apparently, I mean, that's in the family tree. Apparently, we're so British. Why does our father have to be so British and now we're all British? No, I don't want to go. You heard the little man. He wants to get even closer. Very funny, Michael. Fredbear looks terrified. Fredbear himself looks traumatized, looks scared, and is like, gotta close my mouth. Bonnie's just being a furry. Spring Bonnie's just being a furry guy. He's just being a Spring Bonnie. He's just being the Easter Bunny. Hey guys, I think the little man said he wants to give Fredbear a big kiss. But he's straight. At least he's in a relationship with Cassidy. On 3. 1, 2. I guess he's dead, or at least severely traumatized to the brain. Okay. Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. I'm sorry. Yeah, thanks, brother. I don't think maybe I'm sorry will happen, but maybe just be there when I die, please. Okay, I'll be there. Then we get to night 1 of FNAF 4. We're then fun with Flesh Trap. For night 2, happens to be 90 seconds long, possibly to get 2 hours ahead in night 2. Now this is 60 seconds long, fun with Flesh Trap in night, but it's night. For night 3, for of course again getting 2 hours ahead in night 3. Fun with Flesh Trap, but then for night 4, this time it's only 30 seconds to get it. So we can get 2 hours ahead in night 4. There's no fun with Flesh Trap for night 5. We have night 5, night 6, which contains good old Fredbear. Fredbear! Fun with Balloon Boy. Where we eventually get jump scared. You're broken. You're broken, says Michael. We are still your friends, says Susie. Do you still believe that? Says Jeremy. I'm still here, says Gabrielle. I will put you back together, says both Michael and Cassidy. Silence. And he's gone. Night 7 with good old Nightmare, where basically he is the literal embodiment of death, and then, perhaps things are best left forgotten for now, where possibly the Gregory robot is inside, but also possibly Charlotte is inside of it, and possibly also paragraph 4, and then now we're going back to the metaphorical stuff with Nightmare, and then possibly the entire lore of the series. And then eventually Crying Child's soul would travel into Fredbear, where eventually that happens. And now we're good for that. And now, going into this. Now you're gonna say the Nightmare animatronics are just nightmares in the Crying Child's head. Well, I have a theory ahead in a bit. There's a little bit of a theory about how they're actually real, but we're gonna get to that later. But Nightmare. It is literal, as I mentioned, the literal embodiment of death, or the Crying Child's future as Shadow Freddy. Since Nightmare's also file name is Nightmare Shadow Freddy, even if we call him Nightmare, even if he's called Nightmare in the main game. Nightmare Freddy. Nightmare Fredbear is Cassidy, same age as Evan. Crying Child. Which, going to the comments in this, the I will put you back together line has two different meanings that are both true. Also, I'm going to add a whole other thing later. There's actually three meanings. One is that Henry's talking about bringing the animatronics he wants to transfer to the Fazbear Frights universe and Michael back together. What I mean by transfer to the Fazbear Frights universe, realistically, it's basically transferring the pizzeria to the Stitchverse, not the Fazbear Frights universe, and Michael back together in FNAF 6. And another one is that Cassidy is saying it because she wants to bring him back, bring Crying Child back to life because she loves him so much. And both meanings have it working out and kind of. And both are true in the theory, and these are not multiple explanations, they are one explanation. But another thing is the fact that Cassidy and Michael collectively work together to what's it called? Build Gregory from Secured Breach, Greg from Fetch, Another teenage, another secret twin animatronic, and then the fourth adult animatronic that never actually worked out, which is kind of similar to the plot of the fourth closet, just to be clear. Is that technically the fourth closet never really happened. Read the story, it actually is revealed that Circus Baby, being the adult plot version of Charlotte, the fourth closet, wasn't really full. They didn't end up actually transferring the memories into the individual animatronic. But you can see, in the Silver's trilogy, interestingly, we only get to see 3 of the robots. And we didn't end up getting to meet the tween version of Charlotte, which kind of lines up with the whole plot of what happened to Crying Child eventually being great. Gregory is like the tween version. It is the toddler version. Gregory from Scared Bridge is the toddler version of the animatronic. And then you don't have the tween we don't ever meet the tween version. But we do eventually meet the teenager version, the one in high school. Greg from Fetch. And to be clear about the missing children, Susie is the one with the Chica. That doesn't line up with the story of Coming Home, but again, it's realistically an alternate story. It's in Fazbear Frank's universe, not really official. All it really was doing is just confirming that Susie was Chica, and possibly hinting about her being related to William. Or Henry, more of the fact of what happens when she finds the secret room in her. I haven't gotten to that point in the story, which is interesting because that's the story that I'm currently reading. But Susie does eventually find this basement where, like, the secret room under there, a secret bunker or like something, but something similar to Sister Location. You could say that she's Afton's child, but I don't think that's realistic. But what could be a possibility is that the FNAF house wasn't actually ever Afton's, it was Henry's. And that even if the FNAF house from the minigame is Afton's, the house in the actual main gameplay is Henry's, and Crying Child is just living there for more torment. Gabriel is the Freddy mask, and Jeremy is the Bonnie mask. The Foxy mask is also Fritz. But as we have to say, Nightmare Foxy is Michael Afton / Fritz Smith / Mike Smith. Fritz Smith, I have another theory of how Michael Afton is actually Foxy, or at least sometimes. And then the rest of the time it's Henry. Nightmare Bonnie is Jeremy. Blushtrap is the kid that I was going on a rant about, being like how he has grammar skills is awful. Nightmare Freddy is Gabriel. Nightmare Chica is Susie. The box is also solved by the fact that Scott said it is. I've already talked about that. basically already summed up the rest of the but I basically summed up the rest of this entire post. But you know what? I'll read it out loud. So the post goes. So apparently, this background of this was the fact that this whole thing started while I was watching a FNAF 4 retrospective video. The person was watching a FNAF 4 retrospective video, and the specific scene happened, and I happened to remember it during class today. There's a video where I can watch it. Basically, Tyler, most likely the creator of that video, says there's 2 locks in the box. 2 people should have 2 different keys to open it. And then he says it might be 2 people who made the animatronics. Immediately, Henry and William came to mind. So I started thinking about it. And after a while, I can now safely say that I maybe know what is in the FNAF 4 box after almost 7 years. John from FNAF does cover this thing before in a video before where about how the FNAF 4 box was solved. So, but going off the basis of Henry and William, have 2 different keys to fit both locks. I made the connection that the box is somehow has a connection to both Henry and William. But the moment that I thought about keys, one of Candy Cadet's stories came to mind. Now I will tell you the story about the young woman who was sealed in a small room. In the room was a furnace and 5 keys. She was told that each of the 5 keys would unlock one of 5 doors outside her room. Inside each room was a child that she could take with her as she fled the building, but she was only allowed to leave her own room with 1 key, not all 5. Desperate to find a way to save all 5 children, the woman melted 5 keys together in a furnace to create 1 single key, hoping it would unlock all 5 doors. I know that in the story the key ends up not working, but it was that part about putting the 5 keys together in 1. Obviously, that part of the story was referencing Henry's plan in FNAF 6 to bring the 5 keys into 1 place. Michael, William, Elizabeth, Charlotte, and Molten Freddy. On that same track, I also remembered an old Steam post by Scott saying that what was in the box is the pieces put together, and that the Steam post plus the Candy Cadet story of some kind go in hand. So there's that. The box has something to do with the pieces being put together in 1 place. Then I remembered the text that shows up in the FNAF 4 box, in FNAF 4 with the box. Perhaps some things are best left forgotten for now. I originally thought it would be something that both Henry and William decided to lock away because it was something that they both wanted to forget. Finally, something Henry would want to forget was easy, but I hit a huge roadblock trying to find something that William would want to forget. He clearly doesn't regret anything. Even in FNAF 6, he says it's fascinating what the kids he killed has become. Maybe he's like fascinated that they've moved on from the killing, that he's fascinated even if he, in my opinion, he is actually innocent. He was forced to, but he was fascinated the fact that the children are dealing with that and just keeping that lore and just dealing with it, all the things. Eventually, I came up with something different. The box has something that Henry would want to lock up by himself. It's something that he'd locked away after he split with William. Maybe after finding out about the missing children. No, he probably kills himself before that. He kills himself after Charlotte's death. Most likely Elizabeth. Honestly, I think he just kills himself so that he would be getting away with a lot of stuff. He would no longer be caught, even if a lot of people might suspect him, even if he is personally trying to make William look bad, and William is clearly being seen as the villain. Bad guy, and of course, if he dies, everyone's going to go really expect him to be the cause of it, and that he knew he couldn't open anymore because he doesn't have William's key. The box is something that Henry wanted to lock away and forget, at least for now. I went back to FNAF 6 and remembered something that had only been said a few times and nobody really took notice of paragraph 4. I mentioned this. That, I think, it's pretty well established that paragraph 4 is some kind of legal text on a document written by Henry that requires someone to bring all the pieces together in one place. It probably wouldn't say it directly, but it would probably tell them to do something that would indirectly lead to all the pieces being together. Then I started, maybe that is what was in the box. The only thing left now was to make it viable. The first problem was that if it was Henry's plan, paragraph 4 in the box the whole time, how come we saw it in FNAF 4, which takes place before every other game in the series? How do you know exactly which pieces had to be brought together in one place? That question pretty much solved itself. All the pieces were already in place at the time of FNAF 4. Scraptrap equals William Afton. I mean, technically, Scraptrap isn't even in the game. In the game itself, in the credits, it's listed as William Afton. In Ultimate Custom Night, it's listed as Afton. Scrap Baby equals Elizabeth Afton, who was probably already dead during FNAF 4 because of her empty room in the minigames. Yep. Lefty equals Charlotte, which, of course, in my timeline, does actually die before Crying Child, around the time of FNAF 4 main games. He does die after the bite, but she dies before Crying Child. Henry's daughter, who became the marionette and then gave life to the animatronics. Well, and Freddy equals, as seen in the blueprint in FNAF 6, he has most Remnant in him, and Remnant is pretty much the underlying cause of everything at this point. Michael Afton equals Michael Afton, the one who caused the bite of 83, and of course he does even die during Sister Location, which even though takes place after the box is shown, but Henry definitely didn't really wouldn't care if he was alive or not. He just keeps that there. Then there was the problem of perhaps things are best left forgotten for now. If the plans was so important to Henry, why would he want to forget it? This one didn't really have an answer in any of the games, so I just had to infer something, and that something was Henry's depression. At one point in a secret log tape, he thing, in a secret log take thing, he mentions that he could make himself sleep. I'm assuming what that implies. Clearly showing the mental trauma he's gotten because of Afton's actions, or possibly he's just showing that to just make himself look more like the victim when he's truly the villain. Get more into that. A very common coping mechanism, and the first stage of grief is straight up denial. So that's probably why he wanted to lock it away and have it be forgotten for now, until he eventually came back to do it in FNAF 6 takes place. Okay, hope that the next ones don't take as long. God, that one document took forever. Whew. Now, look at this chaos. Take it in. I'll give you 10 seconds to take it in. Okay, got it in. So, I'm going to get to the top layer, which is only pictures I can seem to get are for William's parents. That's it. I can only think of what characters could be William's parents. Oh, this is crazy to say this, but William's parents are Vlad and Clara from the Immortals and the Restless. The baby is actually William. And that possibly his neglect helped possibly pumped his ability, how do I say it? Urge to kill, which William also shares parents with Tape Girl, who eventually becomes Henry's wife. Oh God, it's complicated. Henry is also sisters with Mrs. Afton, which obviously by that implies that Mrs. Afton and William end up being married. Mrs. Afton and William have 3 children: Michael, Elizabeth, and Evan, or Crying Child. Then Henry and Tape Girl have 2 children: Kat, Susie, and Charlotte. Then you have Vanny and then Dokyo. Dokyo back again. And then you have, so basically you have, so Mrs. Afton and Henry's parents are mystery. We don't really need to solve. Same goes for Doco's parents. Vanny has the same, also happens to be a sibling of William. No, a sibling of Henry. And then, okay, so Vanny and Doco end up having 3 children: Gabriel, Jeremy, and Cassidy. Now getting to the bottom level, Cassidy and Evan end up having 2 children, being Kelsey/Andrew and Jake. So the Stitch Wraith. God, it's long. Now you can tell this is clearly one of my longest videos. So these are all the things that we have in Sister Location Custom. These are all the different things we can have in Sister Location Custom Night. So, but these are all the modes in Sister Location Custom Night. But only a few of them I'm actually keeping as canon to the Stitchverse, which shares the same universe of 1:35 a.m. Not 1:35 a.m. I mean, definitely does, but the story I'm referring to is in the book of 1:35 a.m., but it's the second story. Room for one more. How I'm basically showing is all the ones that contain mini arenas: Angry Ballot, Dolls Attack, Girls Night, Weirdos, Bottom Shelf, Cupcake Challenge, and Golden Freddy. Fun Freddy & Co. doesn't have mini arenas. Eliminated. Funtime Frenzy doesn't have mini arenas. Eliminated. Top Shelf doesn't have mini arenas. Eliminated immediately. This is where we're going to start. Extremely controversial of what ending I think is canon to Sister Location. And believe it or not, I believe it's the ending where we actually receive the exotic butters, and not the ending where we get scooped. Eventually, we do get entered inside of us, because that does happen, but I'll explain furthermore. So this is from the survival logbook. So how exactly did Michael get exotic butters? Because if entered, that should be capitalized, scooped Michael, wouldn't it be conscious? Wouldn't actually scooped Michael? He wouldn't be conscious, and Leonard wouldn't have cared, and Elizabeth, and brushed past, because that all that Elizabeth cares, because that Elizabeth doesn't care about anything, because Elizabeth doesn't care about anything but escaping, and this picture is about him complaining about not getting the ever popular cash basket and getting exotic butters, which, how would he know what it looks like?
Exotic butters. Exotic butters. Exotic butters.
Okay, so
Exotic butters. Exotic butters. Exotic butters.
I'm going to find all of them.
Exotic butters. 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 Exotic butters.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn it down. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. One ending is you getting fired, another ending is the place burning down. And finally, the last type of ending is the crying child spirit not moving on. So with the secret ending, it ends with us getting fired. In the secret ending, it ends up with us getting fired. Which, this Ultimate Custom Night, FNAF 4, those games end with crying child spirit moving on. FNAF 1 and FNAF 2 end up with us getting fired. FNAF 3 and FNAF 6 and now Security Breach end with place burning down. Where's that one? Okay, so I'm just gonna move on. So but you're gonna say that doesn't make sense because why wouldn't Michael trust Elizabeth? So here's a loophole. Michael actually did go through that ending originally, but since the credits don't roll until after he dies, Michael ends up reversing it as soon as we hear the dun, the sound of the credits, the chime that starts the credits music. As soon as that happens, Michael basically just reverses everything and brings it back all the way to the beginning of the night. For now, he just eventually goes through the game, eventually, after completing all the sister locations, after completing the Circus Baby minigame with Elizabeth. Because again, that is actually a game that's in universe. Okay, so but in the secret ending, he doesn't die until after the credits start rolling. We just see him enter. We see Ennard approaching, so he doesn't die. So now, reset that, and now we're going to the next one. Pause this for a sec. Okay, so I'm back. So, oh god, we're only like halfway. We're like this far. This might take multiple videos. Okay. So, next theory is that FNAF 1 takes place in 2004. It's based on the timeline of FNAF 1. And the phone calls are a year old. Listening to this phone call.
The animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night, but do I blame them? No. If I were forced to sing those same stupid songs for 20 years and I never got a bath, I'd probably be a bit irritable at night too. The animatronic characters here.
Heard that. So basically, he said 20 years. The animatronics were there for 20 years. Which, of course, 1983, which, according to the Faz claim, is when Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was founded. 1983 plus 20 equals 2003. Okay, but typically, for 2004, November is on the November 12th, which is when FNAF 1 ends. It's on a Friday, which most likely Michael would have wanted to get paid on a Friday, even if it was a day shift or night shift, doesn't matter. Okay, that's only a minute. Thank God. Now, these are the two lines that Scott used to hint at Ultimate Custom Night was not hell like everyone was presuming. And she predicted that based on this line. ... And this is my afterlife or my dream, whatever it might be, I honestly don't know, or maybe it doesn't mean anything at all. Maybe it doesn't mean anything at all. So basically that's hinting, most people are going to think of this as hell. Ultimate Custom Night as hell. It's an odd thing that they're showing as Mr. Hippo, but again, Mr. Hippo's also purple, like William. But this line hints at Ultimate Custom Night being a dream and not hell. And then this flat out line from Nightmarionne. This is a nightmare you won't wake from. Which... Okay. Okay, this is something interesting. So something really basic. He's summarizing William Afton's life. It starts after Elizabeth's death. To be clear, I'm going to ignore anything prior to Elizabeth's death. To start out in January 1983, William has just lost his daughter, so he is mad at his youngest son for not keeping an eye on her. He tries to break down the door. He doesn't answer because he wasn't there. So he gets mad, saying that he will be sorry when he gets back because he went off to that place again. A few months later in May, he locks his youngest son, Evan, in his room and his oldest son, Michael, started bullying Evan. For an unknown reason. Maybe he was possessed by the true murderer of his daughter, Elizabeth. Henry who died for unknown reasons. Possibly Elizabeth was somehow still alive and out for revenge. William stuffs a random employee into one of the Springlock's suits. He knows how easily the suit can kill a person if not properly fastened. A couple of weeks later, William kills his business partner, Henry's daughter, Charlotte. Why would he kill her? She was basically his adopted daughter, unless it was Henry possessing him and fulfilling his blood to ruin the Afton family and have William take the blame. We'll get more on Henry's evil being the villain in a bit. Whatever it is, maybe in the second video, if this ends up getting too long. In 1985, William has killed 4 children. There were 5 bodies and 5 children reported missing, but only one child managed to survive, based on reports. So one of the bodies, which happens to match the description of Michael, who went missing 2 years ago, is not killed by him. He was just another person that happened to be lying with him. Back in the story of Into the Pit, there's actually 6 bodies, which might give a little bit more evidence. There's 6 bodies, possibly showing that William just outright killed the child that got away, which I think is Andrew / Kelsey, which is the angry soul of the Stitch Wraith. Summer of 1987, William ends up facing the animatronics that he stuffed the child into 2 years ago. The animatronics are possessed by the children he killed. They're out for revenge. For some reason, they're destroyed, possibly for the new animatronics. A few days later, William loses his frontal lobe. That event was forever known as the Bite of 87. He completely lost any moral system. He doesn't have to be possessed to kill now. The next day, he kills 5 more children. It is official now. William is a serial killer. 17 years later, of 2004. William disassembles the old animatronics who got fixed a year ago. The spirits of the animatronics who got out of them and chased them into one of the Springlock suits. And then he bleeds out. William is presumed dead. 30 years later, 2034, William is back. Now a Springtrap alongside of him. There are phantoms that are haunting his son, Michael. 11 years later, 2045, William should have burned in the fire 111 years ago, but he's back. Is this man immortal or something? He's back with 3 other animatronics. Scrap Baby, who's Circus Baby after being kicked out of Ennard. Molten Freddy, who is the rest of Ennard. Last but not least, Lefte, or Lefty, who is a suit meant to trap the puppet. Lefty stands for Flare, Encapsulate, Fuse, Transport, and Extract. It does contain the puppet. At the end of Michael's last shift, Henry burns the place to the ground. But William somehow survives, indicated by the fact that he's in front of the fire, in front of the flames.
Can I on that?
Sorry, my mom ended up interrupting the recording because apparently she said I'm supposed to put like a recording sign or something like that. Before William passes out into the 6-year coma known as Ultimate Custom Night, he decides to program this computer virus called Glitchtrap. He programs it to possess and take over whatever its host is, and trap the host in a circuit board that is he's living in. The circuit board gets scanned into a virtual reality game called the Fazbear Virtual Experience. Five Nights at Freddy's Virtual Reality Help Wanted. Glitch Trap ends up finding the playtester at the time, Jeremy, to be continued. Okay, that's basically a summary of William's life, starting with Elizabeth's death, starting with everything after Elizabeth's death, and ending with Jeremy's playtesting. And now this is going to be something really quick. Oh god, that took 10 minutes. Okay. Now, this is all the endings of Secured Breach in the order I think that it could go. Basically, what I mean by that is that each ending does happen. It is canon. Each ending is canon. It's all canon. But only one ending can actually continue the story. The first ending being the bad ending. The one where Gregory ends up being revealed as homeless and Vanny ends up killing him. The second ending, which is the good loading dock ending, where we end up getting there and then somehow Gregory uses the car to end up charging Freddy. Third ending, Princess Quest. Cassidy is the character in Princess Quest. Ending. The fourth ending being the disassemble Vanny ending, where Gregory just orders to kill off Vanny. Or, quote, disassemble Vanny. The fifth ending is the rooftop ending where weirdly Vanny might be revealed as Vanessa, but could be not. Eventually I'll get more into that. We're probably going to be, because I'm going to be reacting to watching certain videos and actually talking through it. Possibly just basically just reacting and analyzing it. It's of course not an initial reaction, but it's just reaction. Re-reaction, I guess you could say. The sixth and final ending, which is the Canon / Afton ending, where Burn Trap and all that, the whole thing happens. It only took like a couple minutes. Okay, back to the next thing, which is, oh god. Now we're gonna get into the fanverse and the metaverse. How the fanverse is basically just a metaverse. So, the top layer, the layer of basically all the games that are so we have basically all the games that are only surface level and we can only find in this universe. By games, I also mean books. So I'm showing this thing chronological in release order. So Freddy Files, the Freddy Files Updated Edition, FNAF R, the Ultimate Guide, and Secured Breach. I'll get more into that next. The next thing. So the third layer, basically the layer within a certain universe, in that universe, in the FNAF universe. A layer within a certain layer of the FNAF universe. So you have FNAF Plus. More specifically, games within games that are games within the actual main FNAF games. Or just Security Breach and FNAF AR. But those games are that game specifically, Joy of Creation, which contains these 3 different games within it. FNAF Plus, Five Nights at Candy's, and then Pop Goes Evergreen / Arcade. And then what's in all of those, and what's in this universe is a game that's supposed to make fun of it all. One Night at Flumpty's. And then this is basically, I'm going to talk about the 3 branches of the FNAF films. Or I'll talk about that later. This is a hypothesis for the FNAF movie. Okay, so for the meta FNAF layer, the first layer, pretty much the layer before it all. So it's supposed to show like the first spot looking back and everything being reversed. Basically, all of the games that Scott made before FNAF. You have the survival logbook. It's in universe. The FNAF 1. Then you have the FNAF 2 minigames. FNAF 2. FNAF 3 minigames. FNAF 3, and then also the other FNAF 3 minigame. And then you have the spring locking thing. FNAF 3 secret ending minigames. FNAF 4, and then you have Joy of Creation, which I'm gonna go into that whole cast thing that I'm really excited about. That's showing that I totally called, which is the fact that Joy of Creation itself was a game in universe. The fact that it's been confirmed. This is the FNAF 4 minigames. Okay, then you have the minigames, the black screen minigames. FNAF World in general. And then you have the Twisted One, the Silver Eyes trilogy, which contains the Twisted Ones and the 4th Closet. Obviously, the Silver Eyes. Sister Location, the whole Sister Location main game, and then you have the mini games, the Circus Baby mini game, and of course those mini games where Michael slowly starts to decay and bruise. FNAF 6. In general, but then what I mean by FNAF 6, no, I mean actually FNAF 6 as a whole. But during the events of FNAF 6, there were in-universe games being Security Puppet, Midnight Motorist, and Fruity Maze, which all happen to be part of the Lore Key branding. And you have Ultimate Custom Night, Help Wanted, Security Breach, Fury's Rage, Into the Pit, Fetch, 1:35 a.m., Step Closer, The Ronnie Ball, Blackbird, The Cliffs. Wait. Okay, I'm gonna fix that later. Drop Angel, The Puppet Carver, Friendly Face, Frigster. All those stories. All the Fazbear Fright stories. are in this one in-universe thing. Okay, so I'm just gonna basically show something for a few seconds, which is the whole fact that I definitely call this House of Bear, which is a reference to the joy of creation, which it seems odd to just reference the joy of creation when clearly that event did not even happen in the universe. It makes no sense. It's a fan game, even if it's a fanverse. Okay, now we're going to get back to the three branches of the FNAF Filmverse. So you have the games, all the games. That's going to be all covered in one section of the film, of the movies. Of the films being the fact that that's the game section. And then you can have another thing being touched by it. Books, which contains the original book trilogy, Fazbear Frights, and the Stitchverse. Theoretically, you could combine the Stitchverse and Fazbear Frights and making one thing, which interestingly, then you have the Fanverse, which interestingly, these three branches could easily be connected back to the US government. So, the book universe makes the laws of the universe. So, the legislative branch, which consists of two parts, the Senate and the House of Representatives. The Senate could possibly be the Fazbear Frights stuff, and then you can have the House of Representatives being the Silver Eyes. The Fazbear Fanverse Initiative actually works as a judicial branch because it's you have the fan base, all interpreting the laws of the FNAF universe and trying to, which then eventually all the laws in the books can be executed. It will be executed and enforced, basically enforced. In the game world, I really don't want to include FNAF World, but fine, I'll do it. I did not mean to include FNAF World. FNAF World can just be something that's mentioned. Like, okay, but seriously, we have to acknowledge the fetch is in security breach. Just look at that. Fetch is in security breach. Yep. That's all I need to say. Fetch is in security breach. Look at the GT live stream, which I'm of course going to actually notice that. You can tell the fact that, well,